This is Naha Airport in Okinawa Prefecture, the southmost prefecture of Japan. Naha is the largest city on Okinawa main island and serves as the prefectural capital. Naha has a population of over 310,000 people. Naha Airport is the air gateway to Okinawa main island, served by many domestic and international flights. Except for using ships to travel between nearby islands, air travel is the general method for accessing Okinawa, and its role has increased since the number of runways was expanded to 2 several years ago. And here is Utsunomiya Station on the Yui Rail, the monorail running through Naha City and its suburbs. Because congestion during rush hours had worsened with the 2-car trains used since the opening, operations with 3-car trains began in 2023. At this station, which has the second highest number of passengers after Naha Airport Station, trains stop for 1 minute during rush hours. Located a few minutes' walk from Utsunomiya Station are the Okinawa Prefectural Government Office and Kokusai-dori, the city's main street. Kokusai-dori is an area that underwent early reconstruction in the Naha suburbs after the war. Because it has a total length of about 1.6 kilometers, 1 miles, it is also called the Miracle Mile, but the road has only 1 lane in each direction and often suffers from heavy congestion. And a new transportation system following the Yui Rail is planned for this location. That is the theme for this time, LRT. 3 routes are planned. The main line of the east-west route is about 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles long, and connects the north entrance of the Prefectural Government Office to the vicinity of the Okinawa Prefectural Southern Medical Center. And there is a branch line of the east-west route of about 1 kilometer, 0.62 miles long, connecting the same north entrance to Wakasa Seaside Park. The north-south route, which is about 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles, intersects with the east-west route and connects the new town area by passing through the vicinity of Madanbashi and Omoromachi Station. Of these, the main line of the east-west route and the north-south route will basically be developed on wide roads with 4 lanes in each direction, where lanes will be reduced to lay the LRT tracks. To secure dedicated right-turn lanes at intersections, the platforms are installed alternately so that the road does not become congested. Meanwhile, there are relatively narrow roads on the path of the branch line of the east-west route, and it is planned as a single track in those areas. While Naha City documents do not specify the exact locations of the starting and ending points, and the names of the stops have not been decided, the plan is to establish stops at intervals of about 500 meters, 0.3 miles. The depot is planned to be installed underground at Matsuyama Park, which is located along the branch line of the east-west route. This utilizes the multi-level park system established by a law revision in 2004, and Motomachi Chukagai Station on the Minamari Line can be cited as an example in a large city. In that case, the urban park was developed after the station opened. And among these 3, the main line and branch line of the east-west route have high priority. The reasons for this are the balance of securing a depot and the early advancement of urban development in the Mawashi area located along the route. A separation of infrastructure and operation system will be adopted for the development. This is a mechanism where Naha City develops and owns the facilities, such as tracks, while an operator rents them for management. Since the government carries out the development involving huge costs and the operator only needs to be concerned with operating expenses and equipment usage fees, excessive burdens can be avoided. The required travel time is about 19 minutes for the main line of the east-west route, 8 minutes for the branch line, and about 17 minutes for the north-south route. Because the maximum speed is limited to 40 kilometers per hour, 25 miles per hour, under the Tramway Act, followed by LRT and other streetcars, these figures are calculated based on that premise, with 30 seconds of dwell time at each stop added. At peak times, there will be 10 trains per hour for the main line of the east-west route and the north-south route, and 6 trains per hour during off-peak times. The branch line of the east-west route is expected to have 3 trains per hour for both periods. The vehicles to be introduced are at the stage where a draft design exists, and here are the specifications. These are vehicles within a total length of 30 meters, 100 feet, based on the Tramway Act. And the vehicle shown here is from the LIGHTLINE, the LRT that opened in Tochigi Prefecture in 2023, and the LIGHTLINE also adopts the separation of infrastructure and operation system. As the first completely newly established LRT to open in Japan in over 70 years, the LIGHTLINE has recorded strong business performance since its opening, despite deep-rooted concerns about profitability beforehand. Following that success, there are concepts to build new LRT systems within Japan, but the Naha LRT Plan was not influenced by the LIGHTLINE. The LRT Plan was proposed by the then mayor of Naha, who was elected in 2001. Furthermore, there was a period when the construction of the Yui Rail as an LRT was also considered, so the LRT is not such a new concept. Behind that lies the history of railways in Okinawa Prefecture and the post-war transportation policy. Before the war, there were general railways in Okinawa Prefecture as well. The first instance was in 1902. On Minami Daito Island, a railway for the purpose of transporting sugarcane opened. In 1910, a similar system was built on Okinawa Main Island, and these are said to be the first railways in Okinawa Prefecture and on Okinawa Main Island. In 1914, a streetcar system opened within Naha City. 9.4 kilometers, 5.8 miles, of the Okinawa Prefectural Railways between Naha and Yonebaru opened in 1914. The line subsequently expanded, reaching 47.0 kilometers, 29.2 miles at their peak. The gauge was 762 millimeters, 2.50 feet, which is narrower than the 1,067 millimeters, 3.50 feet, used by the national railways. This was also called a light railway, and the advantage was low cost because the equipment could be small. Meanwhile, competition with automobiles intensified before the war, and the streetcar line was abolished after about 20 years of operation. Other lines also became inoperable due to attacks by the US military during the war. After the war, although there were requests to the US side for the restoration of the railway, it was not realized because railways were already declining in the US, and roads became the primary mode of transportation in Okinawa. Rails were repurposed as scrap in the 1950s, and traces have been almost entirely lost due to road expansion and other factors. However, some remains are preserved as monuments, and at Tsubagawa Hideshiraku, a few minutes walk from Tsubagawa Station on the Yui Rail, tracks found during the park's development and a locomotive from Minami Daito Island are kept. Also, a turntable from the Naha station of the Okinawa Prefectural Railways remains near Asahibashi Station on the Yui Rail.
Furthermore, the terminus of the former Yonebaru line, Yonebaru Station, was a concrete building, so although it suffered heavy damage in the war, it was restored and used as a town hall and a JA, Japan Agricultural Cooperatives, branch. After the decision for the JA relocation was made, the station building of that time was restored in 2014, and nostalgic items are exhibited there. Some of the items from the collection of the Yui Rail Museum, which was formerly attached to the Yui Rail headquarters near Naha Airport Station, have been moved here. The concept for the Yui Rail emerged during the 1972 reversion of Okinawa. After the war, road capacity was insufficient to handle the rapidly increasing number of cars, and road congestion became serious in the 1970s. Like Kokusai-dori near Kensho-mei Station, there were many main roads with only one lane in each direction, and the situation was worsened by the fact that road development could not keep up with the expansion of the urban area. After various twists and turns, the first phase of the Yui Rail opened in 2003. In conjunction with that, there was a plan to organize routes by making Omoromachi Station and Shuri Station transfer hubs for route buses. However, negotiations with bus companies opposed to the reduction of high-profit routes proved extremely difficult. To reduce the burden on users, transfer discounts between buses and the monorail were planned, and dedicated buttons were prepared on ticket machines, but the plan was abandoned as discussions between Yui Rail and the 4 bus companies on how to bear the cost of the discount funds did not reach a conclusion. Although some bus routes were changed to turn back at Omoromachi and new routes via Shuri Station were established, the plan for Omoromachi and Shuri as transfer hubs did not meet the initial expectations. The Yui Rail played a major role in commuting and tourism transport, and its management proceeded smoothly because its punctuality, unaffected by congestion, was well received, and it became a tourist attraction for its good views. In Okinawa, until then, the transportation network did not function well due to road congestion, and buses were noticeably delayed. A relaxed sense of time spread and was called Okinawa Time. At the opening of the Yui Rail, the catchphrase, "Farewell to Okinawa Time," was used, and there are aspects where that actually became true. However, the Yui Rail alone did not lead to the elimination of transportation blank areas, and congestion still remains in areas it could not cover. Especially in the Mawashi district through which the east-west route passes, the road situation is very poor, so it is expected that the situation will improve with the LRT. Therefore, I will look at each route starting from the place near Kensho-mei Station, where the main line and branch line of the east-west route are thought to diverge. The LRT is planned to pass through a 4-lane road avoiding the Okinawa Prefectural Government Office. While there seems to be space, the road that turns left further ahead has few lanes, and congestion will be unavoidable if double tracks are installed. Proceeding about 600 meters, 0.37 miles, while being overtaken by cars, the area to the back left is the edge of the commercial area connecting to Kokusai-dori. However, the LRT only brushes against this area before turning right and changing its course to the east. The width of the road becomes narrow immediately after the intersection, but widening work is progressing, and it is 2 lanes in each direction from here on. About 500 meters, 0.3 miles, from the previous intersection, there is a crossing with a national highway. This is a crowded intersection even within the city, and the number of cars increases significantly when the light turns red.
If the LRT is passed through, congestion seems likely to worsen, but I wonder if it will be all right. Further ahead, it intersects with the north-south route and continues as an ascending slope for about 500 meters. It is certainly a steep grade, but the LRT seems able to proceed without difficulty. And further ahead, it enters a tunnel. The length of the tunnel is about 500 meters. Access with the surroundings becomes poor in such places, which seems likely to influence the route planning for the LRT. After exiting this tunnel, the road passes over the slope via a bridge. In addition to having a panoramic view far to the south, there is a garden on the north side that served as the origin for the tunnel's name, and the number of houses along the road decreases sharply. It is a peaceful landscape, but access with the surroundings is poor in such places, just like the tunnel, and the room for urban development is limited on such sloped land. The intersection with the road located just before is the endpoint of the main line of the east-west route. Due to time constraints, I will follow the north-south route from Utsunomiya, the intersection with the east-west route. To the south, there are 2 lanes in each direction, but to the north, it immediately becomes 1 lane in each direction, and stays that way for over 1 kilometer. Even for the highly maneuverable LRT, there are places where laying tracks seems difficult, and it looks like it will be a more challenging construction than the east-west route. From this point forward, the road becomes 2 lanes in each direction. While the main line of the east-west route does not seem to intersect with the Yui Rail, the north-south route passes under the Yui Rail here. Proceeding further west, I charge into the new town area where there are large shopping centers. Finally, there is the branch line of the east-west route. It branches from the main line at this intersection and proceeds westward. It passes under Kensho-mei Station on the Yui Rail. It is a grand road with a central median planted with palm trees, but it reduces to 1 lane in each direction after passing the intersection in the back. It is difficult to widen the road as it is sandwiched between a garden and the park where the depot will be established. After passing through here, the road widens again and becomes 2 lanes in each direction. A long single-track section would be a bottleneck when creating a timetable, but since the branch line has 20-minute intervals even during rush hours, there is a possibility that most of it will be a single track. Here is the endpoint. Wakasa Seaside Park and a beach with good access from within the city are right there. The estimated construction cost for the Naha LRT is about 32 billion yen, $213.33 million for the east-west route, of which 18 billion yen, $120 million, will be covered by subsidies from the national government. The predicted demand is 15,100 people per day, and it is expected to be profitable on a single-year basis. Adding the north-south route to this increases the estimated construction cost to 48 billion yen, $320 million, and the subsidies from the national government will be about 27 billion yen, $180 million, with both cases having more than half from national resources. The predicted demand is 21,900 people per day, and while the balance is also in surplus here, the increase in expenses has had an impact more than in the case of only the east-west route, resulting in an actual decrease in the single-year basis. In the cost-benefit analysis, both exceed 1.0, which is the benchmark for project implementation. Cost-benefit analysis shows the ratio of benefits resulting from the implementation of a project relative to the costs required for that project, and benefits include the reduction of travel time and environmental improvements. Furthermore, the demand prediction was estimated in 2021 based on 2006 survey results, and it is scheduled to be recalculated based on 2023 survey results in the future. And while the LIGHTLINE is mentioned in the Naha City documents, there are several differences between the two. For the LIGHTLINE, there are industrial parks at the ends or along the route, and demand to those locations is large. In fact, looking at the situation at 7 a.m., the outbound trains are as crowded as the inbound trains. Also, usage on weekends and holidays has been progressing strongly. Unlike regular users, those passengers have a high ratio of using the system at regular fares without discounts, which is a plus for management. However, for the Naha LRT, there are few facilities that can stimulate tourism use along the route, let alone industrial parks, so concerns about attracting passengers remain. A further major challenge is the route buses, which were also one of the reasons it took time for the Yui Rail to open. For the LIGHTLINE, route buses overlapping with the LRT route were organized, and there were locations where bus stops were abolished entirely. Instead, the transportation system was reorganized, such as by establishing new routes connecting the surroundings to stops positioned as transfer hubs, transit centers, with other transportation modes. If such movements occur in Naha, negotiations are expected to be difficult. Meanwhile, around Naha Airport, road development is progressing along with the development of the new Yui Rail depot. On the path of this road, there is an intersection known as one of the leading congestion spots in Okinawa Prefecture. In addition to a structure where a road hits a T-junction at an angle, cars traveling between the airport and various locations in the prefecture gather there, leading to chronic congestion. Since the road under development avoids this intersection, it is expected that congestion will be alleviated as cars shift to this route. Even for the LIGHTLINE, large-scale multi-level crossings were constructed along the route, and measures for congestion alleviation are being carried out in parallel. Also, since the Yui Rail only has lines in the Naha City suburbs, the public transportation on Okinawa Main Island still remains dependent on buses. If the LRT is expanded to surrounding municipalities to form a further wide-area network, travel on Okinawa Main Island may become easier and tourism may become more active. The plan is not yet finalized and may be revised in the future. I have high expectations for the LRT, which requires road development and cooperation with bus operators.